Ladies and gentlemen, the time has finally come. It has arrived. We are here on episode 1 of We the People. We got a full jam-packed episode for you today, so let's go ahead and jump into it and get started. Alright, so my friends and family always ask me, what do I think about the 2016 presidential election? And I feel like we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. On the left side, we've got Hillary Clinton, who's an idiot. And on the right side, we've got Donald Trump, who's a narcissistic egomaniac. The problem with this is America doesn't settle for candidates like this. America doesn't settle for mediocrity. Now, let's take Hillary Clinton first. Chris Wallace did an excellent interview with Hillary Clinton, and he pretty much destroys her. He makes her look so stupid, it's crazy. So in this video, in this interview, Hillary Clinton starts talking about the overextension of executive power. Just take a look.
On immigration, you say that you would go even further than President Obama in deferring the deportation of people in this country illegally, and you say if Congress doesn't act, that you would support even tougher executive action. I want to ask you about separation of powers, because the Constitution is clear. All legislative powers reside in Congress. It doesn't say if Congress doesn't act, the president can do whatever he or she wants.
Well, let's sort that out, because it's an important question. When it comes to immigration, I believe strongly that comprehensive immigration reform with a path to citizenship is not only good for people who are living under the shadow of deportation, it's good for our economy.
Okay, so she doesn't even answer the question here, and that's a problem. And on top of that, the question really wasn't about immigration. The question was about the executive power and the separation of powers and how far we are willing to let that executive branch overreach into our lives. How far are we going to let them trample our rights? And that's very important. Chris Wallace nails it right on the head, and of course she doesn't answer the question because she can't. She totally intends on imposing her will and imposing her agenda on the American people, whether we want it or not. And that's dangerous. You're starting to cross over into what we were seeing in England in 1776. So these are the kind of things that you're starting to see in today's America that's extremely dangerous. But the interview goes on, and Chris Wallace presses her a little bit harder, this time on the Second Amendment. Let's take a look.
Good, because I want to talk not about Trump, but about you, and drill down into some of the positions that you've taken in this campaign. At a fundraiser last year, you said this: the Supreme Court is wrong on the Second Amendment. Now, in the 2008 Heller case, the court said that there is a constitutional individual right to bear arms. What's wrong with that?
Well, I think what the court said about there being an individual right is in line with constitutional thinking. And I said in the convention, I'm not looking to repeal the Second Amendment. I'm not looking to take people's guns away. But I am looking for more support for the reasonable efforts that need to be undertaken to keep guns out of the wrong hands.
And the Second Amendment includes an individual right to bear arms.
Yes, but that right, like every other of our rights, our First Amendment rights, every right that we have is open to and even subject to reasonable regulations.
Okay, so she presses the issue of our rights can be regulated here, and that's absurd. So one of the problems that I have with this is your rights are your rights. That means that they belong to you. That means that no part of those rights can be stripped away or regulated or compressed controlled in any way, shape, or form. So that's important, and that kind of delves down into her mindset of what she's thinking, and it's dangerous. We're treading on dangerous territory when it comes to Clinton. She's a tyrant, and I don't think anybody could disagree with that, especially after what we've seen today. So the clip goes on, or the interview goes on, and Hillary Clinton, they lead into her email scandal and how she's completely lied, and she's lied to the American people, not only the American people, but she's also lied to the families of the victims in Benghazi as well, claiming that Benghazi was the result of a YouTube video. Of course, we all know that's a lie now. So she lied about that. She lied about the emails, her email service. She's a pathological liar. The woman is a pathological liar. So let's take a look at the rest of the interview.
The emails.
Yes.
I want to ask you about just one aspect of them, and that's what you told the American people.
I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email. There is no classified materials. I am confident that I never sent nor received any information that was classified at the time. I had not sent classified material nor received anything marked classified.
After a long investigation, FBI Director James Comey said none of those things that you told the American public were true.
Chris, that's not what I heard Director Comey say.
Okay, so that's not what I heard Director Comey say. That's words straight from her mouth. We have these wonderful, beautiful technology devices that allow us to go back in time, and anything that's in recorded history on film, we can look up on. We have YouTube, we have the internet, we have all different types of platforms that allow us to go back in time and review these video clips. So let's take a let's take a look at what actually, what James Comey actually said.
Mr. Gowdy for 5 minutes.
Good morning, Director Comey. Secretary Clinton said she never sent or received any classified information over her private email. Was that true?
Our investigation found that there was classified information sent.
So it was not true.
Right, that's what I said.
Okay, so we just saw James Comey say that Hillary Clinton is indeed lying, and as the American people know already, she is a pathological liar. So one of the big arguments that you heard during this whole email scandal that was geared towards Hillary Clinton, and it was one of the reasons why he didn't, James Comey said that he didn't indict or suggest indictment towards Hillary Clinton. And the whole narrative of that situation, at least from James Comey's perspective, was this narrative of intent, that Hillary Clinton didn't have specific intent and she didn't mean to commit the crime, okay? And the problem with this argument is if you get drunk and you go out and kill a family of 4, you don't have specific intent. You didn't mean to kill the family of 4, but you still did, and you're still going to be prosecuted under the full extent of the law. Hillary Clinton is not going to be prosecuted under the full extent of the law. And that's a huge issue when you're talking about the disparity of the wealthy and the powerful versus the common folks. And when you start to see the injustice part of it, not necessarily the distribution of wealth or the disparity in wealth, but when you start to see the disparity of justice, that's a huge issue. And that's when Americans need to take a full stand and say, no, we're not going to stand for this. We're not going to elect Hillary Clinton because she is above the law, and she has shown that she is above the law, which nobody should be. And she's also shown that she's incapable of being president because she's dangerous, and as we've shown earlier, she's tyrannical in her thought process. So these are some of the reasons why we should not elect Hillary Clinton. But on the right side, we've got Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, I don't know how to explain Donald Trump. Donald Trump is, well, he's a narcissistic egomaniac, as I said earlier. The first clip that we have of Donald Trump is him during one of the debates with Marco Rubio. And this, to me, there is a certain honor that the office of the United States, that the President of the United States brings to the table. There's a certain honor, there's a certain aura of power, but humbleness at the same time. There's an aura about the president, and Donald Trump is not it. He does not bring it to the table. So let's just go ahead and take a look at that clip.
I have a policy question for you, sir.
Let's see if he answers it.
I will. Don't worry about it, Marco. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, little Marco. I will.
All right, well, let's hear Big Don. Donald.
Don't worry about it, Don't worry about it, little Marco.
Gentlemen, gentlemen.
You ought to show a bit of
Gentlemen, you got to do better than this.
This guy has the number one
Mr. Trump, may I ask you, Mr. Trump, I'd like to ask you a policy question. Your proposed tax cut.
That's why the people in Florida do not like him.
Mr. Trump, your proposed tax cut would add $10 trillion to the nation's debt over 10 years.
So you could see there how unpresidential that Donald Trump is. He literally turned the Republican Party into a pissing match. This is the kind of arguments that you would see that I see with my daughter and her friend, and my daughter's 5. So it's unbelievable that we have allowed the Republican Party to go in this direction. And not only this was during the primary, not only did we allow the Republican Party to begin to go in this direction by even, obviously you can't stop anybody from running, but by even, giving him the kind of attention that he needed to get as far as he did, but we actually nominated him into the Republican nominee spot. He is, our presidential candidate for the Republican Party, and that is incredible. And so my other problem with Donald Trump is that, other than him not being presidential, my other problem with Donald Trump is that he's bringing he's a reality TV star, so he's bringing so many people that are new into this realm of politics, okay? And all these people, they haven't been paying attention for a long time. So this is all kind of new to them, and they're trying to grab their foothold in the political field, and they're trying to see which side of the aisle do they belong to, which side of the aisle do their principles line up with. So Donald Trump is bringing these people in, and as he's doing it, he's screaming, I'm a conservative, I'm the Ronald Reagan conservative that everybody loves and everybody knows. And of course we know this is false. He is not a conservative. He is an alt-right populist nationalist, and that's pretty much all he is. Donald Trump is going to ruin conservatism for the future. Let me say that again. Donald Trump is going to ruin conservatism for the future. We have a future, folks. It doesn't stop at 4 years. The country isn't going to completely collapse in 4 years, even if Hillary Clinton is elected, and it's not going to collapse in 8 years, even if Hillary Clinton is elected. It would be detrimental, and we may fall to a point where we have everlasting damage in the long run that's irreversible, but it's not going to completely collapse. And because of that, we need to secure conservatism so that way in 8 years, or even in 4 years possibly, we can find that conservative that can run, and we can get him in the Donald Trump position now, and get him nominated in the Republican Party, and then he can go on and start correcting some of these things, or he or she. And Donald Trump is just not a conservative. So all these new people look at him as this great conservative, and he's not. And that's a big problem. That's a big problem for me. So we're going to go ahead and move on to segment 2 now. And segment 2 is going to be a segment where we go over parts of the Constitution. And we're going to the beginning part is what we're going to cover today. We're going to go over the preamble. And more specifically, we're going to kind of cover what is the role of government, what is the purpose of government, and where should government stop and the civil society take over. So I'll see you at segment 2. Okay, this is segment 2, and in this segment we're going to go over the Constitution. And we are going to take the Constitution bit by bit, and we're going to try to educate ourselves, and we're going to try to see what the Founding Fathers had originally intended the role of the government to be. And we're going to try to establish or identify what areas the government today has overstepped its boundaries, and we're going to try to understand the different ways that we can kind of push back, and obviously civilly, we can push back, and we can try to restore the government to its original intent. So today we're going to go over the preamble of the Constitution. The preamble is essential because it underlines the philosophy behind the federal government and what its roles are and what its specific intent is. So the preamble reads, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, and promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." All right, so a couple things there. So, establish justice. Obviously, we talked earlier about Hillary Clinton and how she is, she's allowed to get away with murder, arguably, literally. She's allowed to get away with murder, whereas if any one of us were to try to commit murder, we would go to jail for the rest of our lives. That's the federal government breaking down in regards to justice. So the elitist can get away with murder, but the common folk cannot. Justice was supposed to be equal for all, and it was supposed to be a level playing field. It didn't matter what status you were. You could be a king, or you could be a peasant. It didn't matter. If you committed murder, you were going to jail, and you were going to be prosecuted. And of course, you would have your due process, but you were going to be prosecuted under the full extent of the law, and that's very important. Another key part in that area was ensure domestic tranquility. The only way you can ensure domestic tranquility is through law and order. Law and order is key. It's key in every community. It's the only way that you can have a civil society, and especially a functioning civil society. So law and order, without law and order, you get anarchy, which is never a good thing for a society. So another big thing in that preamble was the common defense. It talks about the common defense. So the common defense would be like the military would be common defense, and immigration, the borders would be common defense. If you don't have borders, then you don't have a country. So it's very important that you instill the security of that border, and of course the military is essential to our way of life. We have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if you don't have borders and you don't have secure borders, then that kind of dampers that pursuit of happiness. And if you're allowing people to come into our country and just raid and attack us, then again that hinders our ability or our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So that's the government's job to stop that from happening, to keep borders safe, to keep our borders safe, and to keep our borders closed, because you never know who's coming through, and to provide a solid military so that they can defend us abroad and defend our interests abroad. So that's kind of the gist of the preamble. We kind of went over some roles of the government. So segment 3, we're going to kind of do something a little different. We're going to do something a little fun today. I got a clip for you about. It's going to be about how the dumbing down of Americans today it's spreading. It's almost like AIDS. It's spreading crazily. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop over to segment 3. I'll see you there. So we're here in segment 3, and in segment 3 we're going to take a look at a video that I've chosen to show you, and this video is hilarious. They go out into the public and they start asking people kind of simple questions, things like who, and the question that they ask here is who is the Vice President of the United States. They ask other questions that are more structural, governmental structure questions, things like how many Supreme Court justices do we have on the Supreme Court, or how many representatives do we have, or how many senators do we have, and you start to see this trend, particularly on college campuses, and high schools are even worse. So you're starting to see this trend of dumbing down of America, and so. In this segment, we're here to just kind of make fun of those people and kind of point them out, and hopefully, maybe, if we point them out enough and we start learning these things ourselves, and then pointing at other people who don't know, it'll kind of create this environment of peer pressure. So it'll be good peer pressure because at least we'll all be educated, and we'll get some laughs on the way. So let's take a look at that first clip.
And can you tell me who the Vice President of the United States is?
Nope.
Nope. Who's the Vice President of the United States?
I don't remember.
What's his name?
I don't
know that. I didn't know that.
All right.
Vice President, is that our boy Biden?
It is our boy Biden.
Our boy Biden holds it down, yeah.
All right, so you just saw there how many people actually knew who the Vice President of the United States is. That's the second man in charge, one person knew. And the answer, of course, is Joe Biden, and he is not holding it down. So you're starting to see the dumbing down of America there. And it's an easy question. Who's the Vice President of the United States? Something we should all know. Maybe not like, but we should at least know it. The next clip that I'm going to show you is a clip that I think a lot more people would get wrong than you would think. So let's go ahead and take a look at that clip.
How many amendments does the Constitution have?
Oh, it's a lot now. I don't know.
64.
Shoot. 20, 25? Could you tell me how many amendments there are in the Constitution?
No, sir, I can't.
I'd say about 16.
27.
All right, so either way, I was lowballing.
Lowballing.
This is The Price is Right. I would have been done.
So as you saw, one person knew that question. There are 27 amendments to the Constitution. It's absurd. The Constitution is there for you. It's there for you to, and it was actually written, at least at the time, it was written in a very low-educated kind of manner because the Founding Fathers wanted us to be able to read it. They wanted us to be able to comprehend what our role as citizens were, and they definitely wanted us to be able to comprehend what the role of the government was so that we could hold them accountable and hold them responsible for their roles in government. So that is extremely important, and it's even more important that we know what our rights are. Everybody always talks about, I know my rights, you know, they throw that catchphrase out there, but do you really know your rights? And if you don't, then you're just allowing the government to move in closer to you. You're allowing the government to impose their will over us, over the people. So we're gonna have a little bit more fun before we go. I've got another clip for you. This one's on the Supreme Court, so let's take a look.
Can you tell me how many justices are on the Supreme Court?
No, I can't.
Oh,
How many
no.
justices
Is
there
it
are?
12? 10?
No, you're thinking 12 Angry Men, the movie. 6, 7.
9.
Yes.
Yes.
So the blonde lady at the end for the win. 9 Supreme Court justices. Of course, we all know that. So a little fun there. Just kind of portraying the dumbing down of America. We all like to point our fingers and laugh at people from time to time. And I think if you're going to do that, you might as well make it effective. And it should at least serve a purpose, as in this case it does, trying to get people to understand that it's not okay to be dumb and it is not okay to be uneducated, it's particularly when it comes to the Constitution and how the government is supposed to be framed. So it's very important we know that. It's very important we educate ourselves on those topics, and it's very important that we stay up on current events so that we can vote our conscience and we can handle these situations as they arise. So it's been a great day. It's been a great episode. Feel free to spread the word. Remember to comment on the videos. Remember to engage on the platforms that I've provided for you. And ultimately, subscribe to the show so that you can see future shows. And definitely head over to my website. You can blog there. You can comment on Facebook. You can comment, obviously, on the video. Please, please, please engage on the platforms that I have provided for you. That's what they're for. They're there for you guys to engage in discussion and to challenge other viewpoints. The only thing I ask is let's keep it respectful. Let's be respectful of other people's opinions. We're not going to get overly offended about anything, but we are going to be respectful. We have to be respectful. You don't want to shut down the debate before it even happens. So let's get out there. Let's get involved. Let's get educated so that we can formulate our opinions, and then we can talk about it. We can have good discussions on the platforms that I've provided, which will have links in the description below. So let's go ahead and get out there and visit. And this is We the People, and I am your host, Justin.